Canopic jars are a set of 4 very specific jars in which the liver, lungs, stomach, and intestines of the dead were stored. These jars were generally fashioned, or most famously fashioned, after the sons of Horus. In general, canopic jars were used by the ancient Egyptians during the mummification process to store and preserve the viscera of their owner for the afterlife. They were commonly either carved from limestone or oftentimes made of pottery. And these jars were used by the ancient Kemetes from the time of the Old Kingdom until the time of the Late Period, or also known as the Ptolemaic Period. By this time, the viscera were simply wrapped and placed within the body. The viscera were not kept in a single or generic canopic jar. Each jar was reserved for very specific organs. And the name of the canopic jars comes from the location Canopus in the western Nile Delta near Alexandria, where human-headed jars were worshipped as a personification of the deity Osiris, or also known as Asar, under the Kemetic belief system. In reference to the hieroglyphics or symbolism of the sons of Horus for each of the canopic jars, this occurred from approximately the 19th dynasty until the end of the New Kingdom, which was 1539 to approximately 1075 BCE. And the heads were represented by the 4 sons of Horus, being the jackal-headed, falcon-headed, human-headed, and baboon-headed deities. These deities were a specific group of their own, and they were essentially the personifications of the canopic jars, which accompanied the mummified bodies. And since the heart was thought to be the embodiment of the soul, that was left within the body, but the brain itself was disregarded. Speaking of the sons of Horus, each represented some very specific aspects. Imseti, who was the human aspect, housed the liver, and he was associated with the south and the goddess Aset. Dumotef, who was the jackal head, protected the stomach. He was associated with the deity Neith and also the north. Happy, who was the baboon-headed representation, housed the lung, and he was associated with the deity Nephthys, while the human-headed aspect held the intestines and was associated with the direction of the west and the deity Sertet. The falcon-headed deity, the last, held the intestines and was associated both with the west and the deity Serket. How these directions or deities influence these canopic jars isn't known yet, but I'm sure through further research of those as individual topics, we can uncover more about